David D'Onofrio, CEO of White Gold Corp, also a principal at Power One Capital, a boutique merchant bank based in Toronto. We've been investing in mining, exploration, and development for 25 years now, and we're pretty fortunate to have built a pretty good track record, and through those years we've really honed in on what's led to the best results. And this White Gold company certainly checks as many, if not all, the boxes for what we like to see in an opportunity. It's something we're extremely excited about and really appreciate the opportunity to be able to present it today. So White Gold, our properties are based in the Yukon in Canada, in the part of the Yukon known as the Klondike District. Let me bring up the map. This area has been notorious for over 125 years as one of the most prolific placer gold camps on the planet. It's produced over 20 million ounces of placer gold over that time and is still being actively placer mined today. However, it was only until very recently that somebody was able to go there and to find the source of that placer gold and other instances of hard rock gold. Statistically, these rich placer camps could have 2 to 3 times as much gold in the hard rock as they have in the placer. So this is a 40 to 50 million ounce type of a prize, and it wasn't until Sean Ryan, the notorious prospector from Timmins, Ontario, was able to go there and crack the code. And White Gold is the beneficiary of that brilliant work he's been doing. So far today, White Gold has been able to delineate a 3 million ounce resource. It's the highest grade gold deposit in all the Yukon and one of the top 10 highest grade open-pittable deposits in all of Canada. And we believe we are just scratching the surface. What makes White Gold even more exciting for us as an investor group, and why we decided and we jumped all over the opportunity to partner with Sean on this, was the size of the land package that he was able to compile. Once he realized what was working, evidenced by one of his first discoveries, this coffee gold project, he then very wisely went and applied that same methodology to the rest of the district. He executed the largest soil sampling geochemistry program ever on the planet, taking over 700,000 soil samples. From that effort, he then hand-selected and cherry-picked and staked the most prospective and highly probable targets that he was able to define, and those projects are now what's in White Gold. It's 40% of the claims in the district, but it represents 85% of the known mineral occurrence in the district. And we believe what we have in White Gold is a true district scale opportunity, something very rare. Not the opportunity to find a mine, but the opportunity to own a whole district is something like we had never seen before. And we believe that unique opportunity is what attracted our flagship partner and shareholder, Agnico Eagle, to be our partner, and they now own just under 20% of the company. We truly view this, and we can say this with more confidence today than ever, this has the potential to be a leading mining camp in Canada, and the opportunity to own it now is like the opportunity to own, say, a Val-d'Or or an Abitibi or a Timmins West 50 years ago. Today, what's really even the most exciting part about it is, we're in the process of discovering the gold. The projects are wide open. We have blue sky targets. But what's really compelling right now is the Yukon itself is finally being globally recognized as one of the most prospective emerging mineral camps on the planet. And that's being validated by further investment by major mining companies within the territory itself, and in particular in our district. The other major projects in our area include the coffee project, which is now being advanced through a partnership between Newmont, Pierre Lassonde, and Agnico in a company called Fuerte. That project is permitted. They're looking to start development in early 27 with their production decision. What's so incredible for us as White Gold is it's really put us on the radar of some of the best institutional investors in the world. Those are the best and the brightest mine builders out there. So have them in our backyard is incredible. We're really benefiting from getting some of that attention. I believe as these investors, who like Fuerte, as they should, They see what else is around it, owned by White Gold. They're really getting excited by that opportunity. More importantly, along with that mine development comes additional infrastructure, in particular that green line you see going from the north at Dawson down to the coffee project. That is a road that's coming in, which is financed by the government primarily. I mentioned the different criteria we look for in evaluating a project. Jurisdiction has always been important, probably in this day and age the most important. The majority of that infrastructure spend is being put up by the government. That's almost unheard of globally. And what that road does, it really unlocks the leverage for this district scale potential. Now, we don't need to be finding necessarily more 3 million plus type deposits. I think the possibility of doing that is there, and looking forward to that. But say you only find a 500,000 ounce deposit somewhere, well, without facilities in the area, that's actually worth nothing. Once you start to have the facilities, like the Fuerte should have a heap leach facility, our deposits will be a crush and grind. You now truck those to one of the facilities. That's the way these camps evolve. And now that, you know, a 500,000 ounce deposit without any facilities anywhere is worth zero. With facilities in place, it's worth, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars. So we're at the point in time that this is actually happening. It's been almost 20 years in the making, and we're starting to see it happen. And all this that I've talked about so far is on 2 of our properties. We have 20 properties. Each one of those is equally as prospective for more gold discoveries. And what we've seen in the last several years, and I'll get to in more detail, is we've seen the prospectivity for other mineralized systems primarily dominant in other metals such as copper, molybdenum, tungsten, etc. And that really shouldn't be too much of a surprise for us, because as you get south of the coffee, the other major company in that area is called Western Copper and Gold. They have the Casino project. It's Canada's largest undeveloped copper project. These properties, these big porphyries happen in clusters, so we believe there's a high likelihood to find another one of those discoveries nearby. And based on the work we've done, we've identified several very large porphyry targets. We've now done the geophysics, and we see huge targets which we're looking to drill in the coming years. So we're really optimistic about that, and that belt then continues further south, and we see other copper mines there. So that's a bit of an overview. I'll touch on a couple of our key projects that we'll be working on, as well as some of our catalysts coming up for 2026. It's really hard to talk about one of the largest land packages in all of Canada in 10 minutes, but I will do my best. So here's a bit about our cap structure. As I mentioned, you see we have Agnico Eagle management and insiders, and some of our strategic investors, including Sprott, owning the majority of the company. I think it should be reassuring to investors to see that type of alignment. And this is the team which I touched on. The other individual I'd like to mention who recently joined our team is Dylan Langell. He's been a phenomenal addition to our team. He was part of the discovery team with Great Bear Resources. That is probably one of the most prolific new discoveries made in Canada in the last decade. You may be familiar. It went from 18 cents to $18 before it was acquired with Kinross. Dylan was there from day one and drilled that out to 7 million ounces. That's now moving to production. Dylan is an explorationist at heart. He then was looking for his next challenge. The fact that he came to White Gold, I think, was a further validation of the opportunity. And what he says that he really liked, he liked the fact that we had ounces. That's a good base to grow off of, and he was really excited by this blue sky potential on the rest of our project. So we divide our opportunities into 2 buckets. One is our advanced projects, and one is our blue sky exploration type. The White Gold project, what is so unique about it within the Yukon and within Canada is the exceptional high grades for an open pit. We are at 3 million ounces now at 1.4 grams per ton on average, which is amongst the highest grade open pits in Canada. But what's really remarkable is the core of the deposit. This is actually something that Dylan helped identify and where he's really wanting to focus on in the coming year. The core of the deposit's 1.1 million ounces at almost 3 grams per ton, and raising the cutoff grade, we see 700,000 ounces at almost 5 grams per ton. That's remarkable for a project in Canada, and this is what has got us to do our PA right away, which we're working on right now. That's going to be a major catalyst for this company, which will be released in the coming months. And we believe that that PA will demonstrate why this project has the potential to be as good or better than many of the projects in Canada, driven by this unique high-grade nature, which comes right to surface. The other part of that is the growth potential. I mentioned it's wide open in all directions. The only limitation on size of our deposit is the amount of drilling. We've done the least amount of drilling of any project in the Yukon, and just by way of comparison, our 3 million ounce resource is built on 90,000 meters of drilling compared to, say, Fuerte's 3.8 million ounce deposit, which is based on 650,000 meters of drilling. So we believe the upside is incredible, and what's really so exciting for us is we are now in a position to drill the most amount of meters that we've done ever in the history of this company, orders of magnitude of what we're doing in the last several years. So we're currently putting together our 2026 exploration program. It should be somewhere in the order of 25,000 meters of drilling. That compares to sub 5,000 meters of drilling, and we believe that we'll have the opportunity to meaningfully move the needle in terms of growing this deposit on its own. So stay tuned for that. There'll be more details on that PEA and the drill program in the coming years, and that's going to be the big focus. And I think that's really what started to attract some institutional interest. We've been very fortunate that some of the other big institutional investors that have come to the Yukon, have followed the success that companies like Snowline have had, growing a 9 million ounce deposit, taking it from $2 to $20, are now here. And as they're doing their homework, they're coming to White Gold, and they're realizing that with this 3 million ounce deposit that's growing, we're still actually trading at a fairly significant discount to our peer group. And I believe that's one of the real opportunities that's getting us in front of a lot of these different institutions. And what's really nice is we've just had institutional research published on us, and that's going to allow us to get in front of some of these institutions for the first time in the history of the company. So moving along, this was the focus of our drill program for 2025. We still have results coming. Dylan identified 3 parallel zones. We only knew of the one, and each of our holes we're looking to target all of those 3 zones. We've released 1 hole so far. It's actually the best hole in the history of the company, and what we've discovered is that there's additional mineralization in the hanging wall that was not previously known. The hole did come through the main zone, so we're pretty confident we're going to hit there. And then we hit this new footwall zone, which is an ultra high grade zone, sub-parallel to our main zone. So that would be all accretive new ounces. But I think what was so interesting for us and a pleasant surprise, the zone through of mineralization through our main zone, it was 50 meters at 6.9 grams per ton. To be hitting that near surface in Canada is almost unheard of. It was just really reminds us about why this project is so special. It's a high grade orogenic deposit, and it just needs to see more drilling. So we're extremely excited. And as we continue to do our work and plan, something else that Dylan has identified is that these high-grade orogenic systems are typically seeded by large structures, and based on the orientation of the different pits that we've identified so far, we do see a potential for these to connect at depth. So we're hopeful in the next couple of years to be able to take this 3 million ounce deposit and move it to 4 with visibility to 5 million ounces. That's just based on the zones we've seen so far that come to surface. Anything we see connecting at depth, that's going to be a bonus, but we're very encouraged to do it and be in a position to have the budget to do it and a market that's watching us here. In addition to drilling and expanding our zones of mineralization, over the past several years, we've identified over a dozen new targets in close proximity to our main zone. These all have signatures that are very similar to the anomalies that led to the discovery of our existing deposit. We will be drilling many of those this upcoming season as well, and we believe those will have the opportunity for new discovery, which again will continue to grow the size of our flagship deposit. This heat map here shows all the anomalies. 3 of those have ounces so far. We're going to drill another 6 of them. Just to the north of the river is our VG deposit, and that also has a number of other big potential. I'm getting waved off here. Sorry, I need a couple more minutes. We got a lot to talk about. On our other group of properties, we have our discovery. This is where we've had success to date. No deposits have been defined yet because the work hasn't been done. We're going to be following up on this. This is the Chris Creek anomaly. It's just north of our VG deposit. It's one of the largest, most intense soil geochemical anomalies we've had to date. It looks almost identical to our flagship Golden Saddle. We're going to be drilling this year. It's extremely exciting. It's on a 5-kilometer trend that's seen hardly any testing, so you can look forward to that. And this property here is something everyone always asks us about. It's called the Betty Ford. It is contiguous to Fuerte's coffee project. It sits along the same fault system. Again, Sean Ryan discovered the coffee. He staked this. Tons of similarities. With a little bit of drilling we've done, we've made exceptional new discovery. You see some of the holes there. It includes, 9 grams over 18 meters, 3.5 grams over 50 meters, another 3 grams over 55 meters. These are incredible results, all at surface, in oxide, with the coffee project right next door. You couldn't have asked for a better place to find it. And as everyone knows, the best place to find new gold zones is near existing gold mineralization. So that's a pretty exciting project we're looking to go back on. And what I will leave you with in the last pit is some of the critical minerals that we've discovered. We are not surprised to be finding this. The Yukon is a true treasure box of opportunity. It just has not seen the same amount of work like other places in Canada. So what we've decided to do corporately, if we're still trading at a significant discount to our peers, which we are based on the gold ounces we have in the ground, notwithstanding the fact that they're the highest grade and most open for growth, that means we're getting no value for these critical mineral discoveries. So what we've announced that we're in the process of doing is isolating these critical mineral projects into a new vehicle, which will be spinning out to our shareholders. So shareholders of White Gold can look forward to getting shares of this newly listed public company. Details will be announced in the near future, and we believe that these projects have tons of opportunity, and we're very excited to put a focused and dedicated expertise around them. And again, they're in this major copper belt in the Yukon. So just in summary, White Gold has the highest grade deposit in all the Yukon in a true district scale land portfolio, which we've just started to scratch the surface on. The more work we do, the more confident we are in finding more of these discoveries. We've seen incredible investment by majors into our company and in our district. Infrastructure's coming in. We have a catalyst-rich 2026 coming up, including more exploration results, details of our spin out, the PA, which I believe is a watershed moment, and the largest exploration program in the history of the company. All this, I believe, is going to lead to a transformational 2026 for our company. We're at booth 108. Please come by to see us if you have any other questions.